So let's get started. Welcome to my 2010-2011 WISE project, which is on the Breeders' Cup. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the background to my project, why I do a project, and then we'll get into the project itself. So the first thing that we're going to do, so what is handicapping? If you take a look in your packet, and if you'll turn to the second page after the outline, you'll see 6 simple steps. And this talks about how to look at the daily racing form. Handicapping a horse race, looking at the daily racing form, is just like any other puzzle. It's like doing a crossword puzzle or a Sudoku. But what you're doing here is, through using the past performances of the daily racing form, is you're trying to figure out which horse is going to win today. And you can leave it at that if you like. However, you can also, if you have enough confidence, or if you want to be interactive with the game of racing, you can actually bet your money. And the minimum bet is $2, and you can go beyond that. So in here we have 6 simple steps that anybody could follow to handicap a race. And then after step 6, you'll see how to read the past performances. And then I have the past performances from February the 6th, 2010, that's this winter, 2011, I'm sorry, this winter, and it was the 10th race at Gulfstream, and this is a race that I actually handicapped. So I'm going to show you a video, and we're going to walk through how to handicap the race, and then we'll see how we did. So let's take a look. So after having gotten the tickets in the mail, that was pretty exciting, I decided that what I wanted to do was, for this project, I wanted to move to the next level, so to speak. Instead of just doing web pages with pictures, I wanted to get into video, and as you're going to see at the end of the presentation, I had a secondary motive for this. So we found what is called the flip cam. And the flip cam takes high definition movies, and it's just a little camera. I mean, it's about the size of your cell phone. And ironically, a friend of ours, when we were talking about the flip cam, told us that there was a deal through the company that if you were an educator, me, you could get these cameras that were $199 each. You could get 2 cameras for $175. So that was a great deal for us. So I got my flip cam. And at the same time, I got my new car, which was really cool. And it's the first road trip I took on my new car. I went out to Gulfstream. Because this guy, Jim Mazur, who writes this book, Crushing the Cup, he started out as a handicapper just like me, just a guy, and he started to sell a book about handicapping at Gulfstream. He's now nationally known. He produces several books a day. Well, he was doing a seminar on the Breeders' Cup that day with horses he liked, and you got this book for free. And one of the things that you got as part of coming to the seminar was he would send you updates as you got closer and closer to the Breeders' Cup, actually send you updates on the day of the races, which turned out to be a very profitable thing for me, as you're going to see in just a minute. So one of the highlights of the first day was everybody being there, which was planning the trip, and everybody seemed so happy to be there. And we went to this restaurant. It's called the Galt House, and it sits on top of the tallest building in downtown Louisville, and it rotates around. So this really nice dinner. Everybody's all excited about the Breeders' Cup. My father-in-law, my mother-in-law, Kim and I, and my mom. And this is my cousin Roz, who I grew up visiting her brothers, and her mom in Louisville. And it's my all-time favorite house. So it was a real treat for me for them to go. You can't see my wife's Uncle Dave. He's over here. He got cut out of the picture. Sorry, Dave. But we just had a great dinner, and it was funny that there were a lot of people, I could tell, having dinner that night at the Galt House, who were racing people, some of the owners, some of the trainers, and so on. So that's pretty cool. So having had the nice dinner out, now we're ready to actually go to the Breeders' Cup, which is what it was all about. So let's see how that turned out. So I made this grid from all of the handicappers who published their picks for the Breeders' Cup in the daily racing form. And here's everybody that was listed. There were actually some guys that got none right, and some guys that only got 1 right. And then there were others that got 2 and 3 right. There were only 2 people, as my video showed you. There were only 2 people that got 5 selections right out of the 14 races. That's Stephen Chris, who is the editor of the Daily Racing Form, and I have to say, he always is a pretty good handicapper. And then there was me. I also had 5. So we tied for picking the most number of winners. Well, if you bet $2 on all the picks, $14, so you would have bet $28 because you had 14 races. Stephen Chris would have got back $50.60. I would have got back $54.60. So we tied in number of winners, but who made the most money? Yo, I did. So that's why I said in the video that I'm the Breeders' Cup champion. And if you remember from what I talked about from the previous year as part of this project, I finished second. So 2 years of handicapping the Breeders' Cup. The toughest day, the biggest day in racing, and I did really well on both of them. So it was really cool that I was able to get all of these headline stories from the Louisville Courier-Journal and mount them and laminate them, and they typically hang on my wall with all my other pictures. And as you notice, I got the ones in color of my winners on the day, and I got the ones of Zenyatta, but I don't put them on my wall. Just like the previous year, where I was so excited by Zenyatta's win that I wanted to have a picture to add to my wall. This was the second year in a row that Goldakova was my best bet of the day on the Breeders' Cup. And as you could tell from the video, I was so excited. I mean, I said to so many people after that race, I'm like, did you see that? It was just dynamic. So obviously I had to have the Goldakova picture. And so for Christmas, my wife got me the Goldakova picture, and it now hangs on my wall right underneath the picture of Zenyatta. So that's pretty cool. Actually, when I was in New York, one of the Wise Services people who had asked me about my business that I've got in mind and so on, and she said, do you do fairly well with your handicapping? Have you learned anything from the project about your handicapping? And I told her yes, because I do keep track of my statistics and so on. And I think it's interesting, if you go back to when I started this project, 4 of the last 5 racing seasons, I've come out above the $2 mark. Remember that $1.91 out of $2 are better than 93% of the handicappers? So in the fall of 2009, in the summer of 2010, the fall of 2010, and then the tropical meeting of 2010, I came out over $2 for every $2 bet, which means that I bet 2, I get 2. It's like if you go to the movies and you pay $10 to get in and they give you $11 for watching the movie. That's a pretty good deal. I really think that my handicapping has improved because of that. And I'm just now wrapping up the Gulfstream meet, and the last time that I did my statistics, which was at the end of March, I was at $2.03 for every $2 bet. So again, I was having a winning season. So I really think that I've got a chance here to do something with this handicapping service. And I do have a business plan for how that's going to work out starting next year when I'm retired from teaching. So let's take a look. So if you look at these handouts that I've passed out, it corresponds with this slide up here. What should you learn from my presentation about how to make your presentation a good one? Here are some characteristics of good WISE project presentations. First of all, before the presentation, just like I gave you last week, you should have a business card that tells everyone where to find your journals. Because when you evaluate someone's project, you will be filling out, just like you'll be doing today, you'll be filling out an evaluation, and it includes a section where you comment specifically on 3 days from their journals. Also, notice how I was dressed today. Breeders' Cup 2010 shirt. Now, I don't mean to tell you that you need to go out and buy special clothes or whatever. You should either dress really nicely, professionally, it's a presentation for a big part of your project, you're representing yourself, or you should wear something that's tied in to what your project is about. For me, it was a Breeders' Cup shirt. You should have an outline, just as you'll find in your packet. Not only does it have the topics, but it also has the approximate time frame for how long you're going to spend on that. Now, you're not going to be locked into that, but that's for you, so you know how to run through your project. And it's also for me, so I can try to keep an eye on the clock and make sure you get the entire presentation in. Also, your presentation needs to be at least 35 minutes in length. Now, how can you put 18 weeks of experience into just 35 minutes? I don't know how you could go shorter. I had a really hard time squeezing mine down to a little over an hour. You have to have at least 3 forms of presenting. You know, for me, I had items that I showed, I had a PowerPoint, I had videos, and then there were anecdotal stories that I told. You should mention your mentor. I mentioned my wife, so she kind of counts as my mentor. You should talk about something you found out about the economics, the government, and the history, part of your research. And you should describe the WISE experience. Like, my presentation was not on what is the Breeders' Cup. It was about what was the Breeders' Cup to me. What happened to me in my adventure as I researched and attended the Breeders' Cup. It's the story of the last 18 weeks of your life. Now remember, in 2 days, on Wednesday, 21st, you can come in and you can sign up for your project. Now, on the bottom of the sheet I gave you at the beginning today, you'll see that there's a mentor sign-off form. They must have signed off and agreed to whatever days or dates you've decided you would like to give your presentation. I would suggest that you have multiple days and times selected in case someone takes yours. Then, on April the 28th, you will be coming in to sign up again, only this time you'll be able to see everybody's presentation times and days, and you must attend 3 presentations a week. That's how you're going to be graded, because your research is over, your journal writing is over, everything is over. No more mentor reports. The only thing left is to give your presentation and attend other presentations. So it's 3 per week, and that includes reading the journals, which is why it's important that everybody gives you a card. So let's get to the evaluation and see what you thought about my presentation.